Seeing Clara shivering made me truly panic. I'm sorry, Clara, I like you too. Clara's expression didn't clear up. Lies. I was at a loss. It's not a lie, I'm really bad at lying. Clara puffed out her cheeks. Then, I think your like and my like are totally different. I was bewildered. My name is Michael, 31 years old. I work at a small inspection company. Originally, I worked for a large company in New York, but I decided to move back to my hometown when my father was hospitalized and my mother expressed her anxiety over the phone every day. It might sound like I'm a dutiful son, but in reality, I had always wanted to go back to my hometown. Working for a big company was fulfilling, but the interpersonal relationships were complex, and it wasn't suitable for someone like me who is not good at communicating. I also disliked the hustle and bustle of the city. No matter where I went, there were always so many people, and I especially hated packed trains. Over time, my desire to return to my hometown only grew stronger. So, my father's hospitalization and my mother's anxiety were a blessing in disguise for me. Although both of my parents were against me leaving a major corporation to return to my hometown, I pretended to be a dutiful son and proudly went back. Since I had difficulties with interpersonal relationships at the large company, I decided to join a smaller company this time. This company was planning to venture into the field I had been working in, and they were looking for new staff for that purpose. After seeing my resume, President Miller hired me on the spot. During the interview, he was almost jumping with joy at my experience, and he shook my hand, saying, "I'm looking forward to working with you." With a smile on his face, Mr. Miller, in his early 50s, seemed very approachable. It felt like a homey company, and I thought I could do well here. However, I seemed to have made a blunder at the welcome party. For some reason I still don't fully understand, Mr. Miller's attitude toward me turned a bit cold the next day. While I was puzzled, a colleague gave me some advice. Apparently, as the newcomer, I was supposed to flatter Mr. Miller. But to be honest, I didn't even know much about what Mr. Miller had accomplished. I thought that respect would naturally develop as I got to know more about his achievements over time. But it seems I was too slow in doing so. In any case, it was essential to praise those above you. Being a sycophant was a necessity in this company, I was told. And that was the area I struggled with the most. Compliments that I didn't truly mean just didn't come to me. But as a working adult, I couldn't just say that. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. If that was the company culture, I had to follow it. Despite the struggle, I tried to follow my colleague's example and pay close attention to every move Mr. Miller made, trying my best to compliment him when possible. Gradually, I thought Mr. Miller's attitude was starting to soften. Then, one day, which happened to be my day off, I was on my way to the hospital to drop off some laundry for my hospitalized father and deliver some necessities when Mr. Miller called me. He wanted me to join him for a drink right away. I, who had no habit of drinking from the afternoon, naturally refused. I had things to do for my hospitalized father. I thought it was a legitimate reason. However, the next day, I was suddenly informed of a job transfer. Starting next month, I was to be seconded as a general hand at a large plant facility. I found out that our company was a subcontractor at this plant, and it was mandatory to have a permanent staff member from our company stationed there. The job mainly involved menial tasks like entering the inspection data that came in, revising pipeline diagrams, and organizing previous documents. I was to replace the current staff member stationed there. When I thought this job wasn't what I wanted to do, my colleagues looked at me with pity. It seems I've been labeled as a deadweight employee. The reason was because I didn't attend a drinking party on the holiday. I didn't understand. How one spends their holiday should be a matter of personal freedom. However, Mr. Miller believed in dedicating oneself to work. He would rush to respond whenever called upon by superiors, climbing the ranks by being a yes man. Prioritizing family over one's boss was unthinkable to him. That's just how he thinks. Maybe I can't manage here either. I've always struggled with interpersonal relationships. In large companies, even when talking about work, there would somehow be discrepancies, and people drifted away from me. But here, failing to grasp the president's intentions, I ended up being treated as a liability. No matter where I go, do I just not get along with people? Feeling down, I even considered quitting, but the work environment at the assignment location turned out to be very good. Although the tasks were mostly simple, I liked being able to work quietly on my own. No one expected anything from me, and it didn't matter if the work didn't get done today. As long as I took care of the tasks at hand, I wouldn't attract any attention. Plus, people from our company rarely visit this office, so I don't have to meet Mr. Miller. Ever since being treated as a dead weight, there were no invitations to drinking parties. I could manage here. I chose comfort over job satisfaction. Usually, it's a comfortable workplace where I can work quietly on my own, but there are times when this peace is disrupted. During the scheduled maintenance, plant facilities require regular inspections and repairs. All equipment operations are halted during this time. Therefore, it needs to be done quickly, with a large number of workers gathered from all over the country to complete it in a span of 2 weeks to a month. It's all hands on deck. Meaning, even this usually quiet workplace becomes crowded with inspectors and construction workers during this time, and of course, that includes Mr. Miller and all my colleagues from the company. Well, they're too busy to bother with me. I just carry on with my usual tasks. Although the volume of work significantly increases. As the maintenance period approaches, more and more people are arriving. At the morning assembly, someone new always arrives and introductions start. Normally, I just blankly watch, but today was different. A woman was dispatched from the main contractor of this plant facility. In other words, a woman from the head office is making her greeting. I've been assigned here from today. My name is Clara. Nice to meet you. She greeted us clearly. Even in her work clothes, she was graceful. Her eyes were sharp and double-lidded, and her high nose bridge and slightly long face were beautiful, yet she had an androgynous aura. She was my classmate from my student days. I quietly blended into the crowd, hoping she wouldn't notice me. I don't want her to know I'm here. But, what are you doing in a place like this? After the assembly, as Clara was making her rounds, she found me quite easily. When asked by those around if we knew each other, she nodded. She was my classmate during my technical college days. The surroundings buzzed at her remark. Hey Michael, you went to a technical college. Asked by a colleague, I reluctantly nodded. Technical college. A higher educational institution with a high standard where graduating from one gives you an advantage in job hunting, and mentioning it causes a stir. Especially in places like this plant facility, where technical college graduates are highly valued. Michael, you never seemed like that. You were probably just scraping by with your grades, right? Clara glared at the teasing colleague. What are you talking about? This guy. I shook my head vigorously at Clara, who was about to say something. My face must have been pale. Reading my expression, Clara didn't say anything further. That evening, a welcome party was arranged. It was still a day when we could go home on time. I was hastily getting ready to leave when, planning to leave, I was stopped by Clara. When I hesitantly nodded, she gave me a forceful smile, saying, You're coming to the welcome party, right? I awkwardly shook my head. Why not? Asked with a smile still on her face. I hung my head. I'm not good at it. Clara sighed. It's a rare reunion, and yet you're so cold. With a resigned expression, I murmured an apology. Sorry. Clara exhaled again. But why the menial tasks? I heard about it. You're seconded from a subcontractor company, right? You, of all people, should be. I cut off Clara's words. I don't want to stand out. Clara frowned. Still as clumsy at navigating situations as ever, I see. Even though she was blunt, it didn't hurt coming from Clara. Clara was one of the few who understood me during my technical college days. I thought I had an ally today. Well, can't help it. I guess I'll have to suppress the despite being a woman part again today. The phrase Clara hated the most was despite being a woman. We were comrades in a technical college department with few women, but she would get instantly upset when someone said despite being a woman. She lived her life with too much to prove. I placed a hand on Clara's shoulder. You're tensing up. At my words, Clara took a deep breath. Brings back memories. You often calm me down like this. Clara, now relaxed, seemed a bit cuter. I understand you don't want to stand out, but secretly help me out when I'm in trouble, okay? Smiled at by the now cuter Clara, I nodded sincerely. Of course, just say the word, secretly, though. We both chuckled, and I went on my way home, while Clara headed to the bar where the welcome party was being held. On my way home, I reminisced about my technical college days. Back then, I also struggled with forming relationships intended to be isolated. Clara, one of only 2 girls in our class, wanted to be on equal footing with the boys and often came across as standoffish, which made her unpopular among the students. She took on the role of class rep eagerly, but there were those who didn't follow her proposals. During such times, she would cry in private. By chance, I was the one who found her in that state. She had arrived before me and was trembling as I always ate my lunch alone. I unhesitatingly sat down and started eating my lunch, which seemed to infuriate Clara. Why are you eating here? You should have the decency to avoid me since I'm here. Her eyes were red from rubbing them after crying. It doesn't bother me that you are crying. This is where I eat every day anyway. When I said that, Clara turned red and insisted, I'm not crying. Why would you think I was crying? I'm not. Even though it was obvious from her red eyes that she had been crying. I remember thinking her defiant attitude was somewhat cute. I think the class project should go with your idea. The boys are probably just opposing it for the sake of it without any alternative ideas. When I said this calmly, Clara's eyes widened. Then, you should support it, she said, pursing her lips, and I gave her a puzzled look. Don't you think if I support it, it'll just be opposed even more? Since I was also isolated in the class. Clara sighed. Then, I have to do something about it, since you said my plan wasn't wrong. As Clara mumbled to herself, I naturally placed my hand on her shoulder. Clara flinched. What? Surprised, she looked at me, so I said, no, just thought you're tense. You should relax more. You're cute, Clara, just saying what came to mind. Clara turned bright red and denied it, but I thought that was also kind of cute. Since then, Clara and I became friends. But it wasn't romantic. It was a friendship between a boy and a girl, both of whom had few friends. We went our separate ways after graduation without even exchanging contact information. We said see you, and that was the end of it. And now, suddenly, she was here in front of me, and I was a bit shaken. Several days have passed since then. The maintenance period gradually became busier, and all the workers were extremely busy. The tasks coming to me also increased, but not to an unmanageable amount. One day, I heard Clara's yelling. "What's going on?" It was a voice filled with an unprecedented tension. Even though it was none of my business, I found myself walking towards where Clara's voice came from. How can this be done in time now? How could this happen? Her voice sounded almost tearful, so I approached Clara without caring about the surrounding gazes. And then, I placed my hand on her shoulder. "What's wrong? Calm down." Clara showed me a distressed face. "The piping diagram drawn at the site. The orientation is all wrong." I looked at the drawing. It was an isometric diagram of the pipes. It shows the pipes in 3D by tilting the horizontal direction by 30 degrees. Usually, in this site, the upper right diagonal represents north, but this specification required the upper left diagonal to be north. It's already, a huge amount has been drawn. Even if we have to redraw it, changing the direction like this, it's difficult for a CAD operator. I patted Clara's shoulder gently. "I'll do it." Clara looked at me in surprise. But you didn't want to stand out, right?" I burst out laughing. "I can't just stay silent because I don't want to stand out when you are in trouble." Clara lowered her eyebrows. "Michael." She called my name with a voice that sounded almost tearful. "Leave it to me. It just needs to be rotated 90 degrees, right? As long as the finalized drawings are correct, that's fine, isn't it? I'll draw the major pipes and components in CAD, and can you ask the operator to handle the finer details of the remaining parts?" The surroundings buzzed. Everyone looked at me as if wondering what a menial worker like me could possibly do. Among them was Mr. Miller, who happened to pass by. Clara looked at me with her nose puffed up. Even though it meant standing out, her expression seemed to ask if it was okay to reveal the truth. I reluctantly nodded. Clara's face lit up. "It's all going to be fine. If you're getting serious, there's no problem at all," she exclaimed with a vibrant voice. I caught Mr. Miller's puzzled look. Michael was one of the top students in our technical college, a genius with an IQ over 135. After graduation, he was even recruited by a major plant design company. Clara's words stirred up the crowd. "Genius is a bit much," I hesitantly said to Clara, who glared at me. "If you're not a genius, then what am I? An idiot? You're a genius. Realize it. It's just your high IQ makes it hard for you to understand people's feelings." I wilted, but I was internally happy to see Clara's spirit return. From then on, I became suddenly busy. I was told I didn't have to do my usual menial tasks, but it didn't feel right, and that would just put more pressure on others. So, while managing my own tasks, I proceeded with the direction of drawing change. I just had to mentally rotate the drawing 90 degrees and draw it. To me, it was a simple and straightforward task. You don't need a high IQ for this, just a brain specialized in spatial visualization. Moreover, I had CAD drawing skills developed at the plant design company. In the design company, the ability to quickly and accurately draw blueprints in CAD was essential, and my skills significantly improved during my time there. Knowing I didn't mind standing out, Clara started throwing impossible tasks at me. "You can't just ignore it if I'm in trouble, right?" she said, asking for designs of pipes that needed repair and detailed drawings of small components. I managed all of it with a wry smile. Being able to handle whatever is thrown at you, really, it's annoying. It was hard to believe those words came from the person who kept assigning me tasks. But these exchanges felt like we were back in our student days, and I somewhat enjoyed it. Time flew by, and the maintenance was completed as scheduled. The drawing corrections were finished within the deadline. I had been working overtime a lot lately. Today, I thought I'd go home early and get some rest, but then Clara invited me. You're not going to the all-staff party, are you? Hang out with me. She seemed to have endless energy. Clara had been running around more freely than I had. She had been visiting the site and working on the computer. She must have had more overtime than me. Shouldn't you rest early for your skin's sake? I meant well, but Clara smacked me hard on the back. How dare you say that to my glowing skin? Hearing that, I looked at Clara's face. It is really glowing, I commented honestly, and Clara turned beet red. See, that's why we're going. Clara forcibly dragged me by the arm. She had chosen a nearby restaurant. Since we both drove, neither of us could drink, and she said it felt kind of nostalgic. This restaurant was a place where Clara and I often dined during our exam study sessions. Although it wasn't the exact branch we used to frequent, this chain had the same interior and menu everywhere, so any location felt nostalgic. We took seats at the end and ordered dinner along with the drink. I ordered a soda with no ice. No ice, just like always. Clara noted with a laugh as she looked at my glass. Ice dilutes the drink when it melts. I replied the same reason I had back in technical college. Cheers. Clara raised her cup of coffee towards me. Great job on the work. Our cups clinked together. This time, I really owe you one. You truly are a genius, she said. I scratched my head awkwardly. If I were a genius, I'd wish to live a bit more smoothly, I said with a wry smile, and Clara laughed. I like that about you, Michael, she said with her most radiant smile, making me smile too. Clara, you're still living life with such intensity, just like before. It's somehow reassuring. I chuckled, but Clara looked down somewhat sadly. Reassuring, huh? In that moment, I suddenly realized something. Had I made another blunder in what I said? Whenever I misspeak, people usually look disappointed, just like she did. Sorry, did I say something wrong again? I asked hurriedly, and Clara shook her head. I said I like you, but you just said it was reassuring. Clara seemed flustered, and I was confused. I didn't want Clara to dislike me. Sorry, what did I do wrong? I don't want you to hate me, I confessed, and Clara's eyes widened. Isn't that liking someone? She asked. I became even more confused. What do you mean? I do like you, Clara, I said. Clara frowned for a moment, then ruffled her hair in frustration. Ack, it's not getting through, she exclaimed, sounding exasperated. Then, with a burst of energy, she looked up. I've liked you since technical college, not as a friend, but as a man. I was taken aback. You have? She nodded, her lips pursed. My face instantly heated up like a boiling kettle. Why? We didn't even exchange contact information when we graduated from technical college, since technical college. As I asked in confusion, Clara's expression grew even more frustrated. I wanted you to say it first, but you never did, so I got stubborn. I was dumbfounded. But you always said you didn't want to be treated differently because you're a woman. Yet when it comes to this, gender matters. I blurted out what was on my mind. Tears welled up in Clara's eyes, and I panicked. I know it's contradictory, but when it comes to love, I want to be treated like a girl. Seeing Clara trembling, I was truly flustered. I'm sorry, Clara, I like you too. But Clara's expression didn't brighten. Lies. I was at a loss. It's not a lie, I'm really bad at lying. Clara puffed out her cheeks. Then, I think your like and my like are completely different. The dinner we ordered was placed in front of us, bewildering me further. We decided to eat our dinner first, pausing the conversation. During that time, I thought hard. Much harder than when I'm working. What kind of like do I have for Clara? As I pondered, an answer naturally came to me. But it seemed impossible to confess here in the restaurant. After finishing our meal in silence, I suggested, let's go outside. Clara nodded sadly, and we headed to the cashier. My heart felt tight. I felt like I'd hurt her again by not saying enough. Could someone like me convey my feelings to Clara? Again, I was lost in thought. Well, upon leaving the restaurant, Clara started towards her car. I hastily stopped her. Wait, how about a walk? Clara looked surprised. Aren't you going home? I shook my head. No, I want to walk along the embankment. Clara agreed with a nod and began walking beside me. The embankment carried a refreshing scent. The flowers, likely beautiful in the daylight, rustled in the night breeze. After walking in silence to a deserted spot, I abruptly stopped. Clara, surprised, stopped a few steps ahead of me. What's wrong? Her puzzled face was faintly illuminated by the street light. I can't quite explain my like for you, especially not in a bustling restaurant. I struggled to find the right words. Driven by my feelings, I hugged Clara. Clara froze, surprised by my embrace. I hugged her tighter. I've always wanted to hug you like this, not just patting your shoulder, but holding you tight. I was sad when we couldn't even exchange contact information at graduation. We talked at school, but I thought we weren't close enough to talk outside of it, even on holidays. Tears naturally spilled from my eyes as I spoke. Because I don't understand people's feelings and end up hurting them, I thought I shouldn't express my feelings of liking someone to anyone. Clara trembled within my embrace. Really? Did you really like me? Were you lonely without being able to contact me? When she asked, I nodded repeatedly. Clara stepped back from my arms to look at me directly. Really? Do you, I mean, like me in a way that you'd want to kiss me? Blushing, I nodded again. And naturally, our lips met. As long as I know that, it's okay. Clara whispered softly after we parted. Even if I don't understand what you want to say or do, as long as I know you love me, I won't misunderstand your feelings. Hearing her words made me incredibly happy. At the same time, I felt terribly sorry. Wouldn't this mean making Clara always worry about me? Clara laughed, as if to dispel my fears. When you said let's leave the restaurant, was it because you couldn't hug me there? And the like you casually mentioned meant I love you, right? I vigorously nodded. If I'm confident that I'm loved, I won't misunderstand. So, will you love me? Will you always love me? I hugged Clara with all my might. Yes, yes, I love you so much, Clara. I love you. From the very first conversation we had in technical college, I've always found her adorable and dear to me. I would have done anything for Clara. To have the person I love in my arms was an indescribably happy feeling. It was an emotion I was experiencing for the first time in my life. Years later, Clara and I are enjoying peaceful days. After the maintenance period, there was a headhunting offer for me from Clara's superior. Since my father's health had stabilized, I returned to New York. There, I was given a job that utilized my unique skills, and I led a fulfilling life. Clara and I continued our relationship smoothly and got married. However, I could never get used to the hustle and bustle of the city. Being part of a company meant inevitable transfers and business trips, leading to an unsettled life. So, we decided to start a small design office in our hometown. Of course, Clara is the president. I wouldn't be suited for that role. Can I take this job? It might be a bit of an overwork, but... Looking at the specifications Clara handed me, I nodded. Yeah, it's fine. Clara followed up, saying, Is that fine, as in it seems a bit tough, but for Clara's sake, I'll push myself and do it. I chuckled. No, it's fine, as in I've worked with this client before, and their specifications are solid, and I can work hard for my beloved Clara. Clara smiled at me. Okay, that's good then. I, too, smiled. I never thought I'd get married. No, I thought I couldn't. I couldn't imagine making someone else happy. But Clara is still smiling beside me today. Honestly, I think I'm a burden to her. Living a life constantly considering my feelings, I sometimes wonder if it's really okay. But Clara is still smiling beside me. I just need to believe in this smile. I smiled back at Clara and renewed my vow to love her for the rest of my life. I'm taking your wife. With a smirk, a mafia man pulled my wife, Jenny, close to him. She looked at him happily. Is this what it feels like to have the person you love taken away right in front of you? My heart ached. But I forced a smile and retorted, Be my guest. My nonchalant response seemed to surprise him. What are you laughing at? Are you messing with me? No, I'm not messing around. Just one thing. I'd like to ask you a favor. Could you connect me to your boss on the phone? I'd like to say hello to Tony. And so, my hidden past was about to be revealed. My name is John. I'm a senior executive at a major company, and at 58, I'm getting ready to retire. 3 years ago, I married Jenny, in my second marriage. She's 33, a whole 25 years younger than me. We met at our regular bar, and she was the one who proposed. I hesitated at the time. It was flattering to be chosen by a young and beautiful woman like her. But I had lost my wife, Linda, in my previous marriage and had decided never to marry again after that sorrow. It had been 15 years since I lost Linda. I know you love your previous wife, but it's a waste to keep dragging the past sadness and not reach for the happiness in front of you. She would have wanted you to be happy too. Jenny said that to me. Strangely enough, that night, Linda appeared in my dreams. She seemed to be saying something, but I couldn't hear her voice. I woke up with a start, and though it was just a dream, seeing her face after so long filled me with nostalgia. The TV was still on, showing a late-night variety show, and I spent some time lost in thought. The next day, when I told Jenny about it, she smiled and said, Actually, I had a dream about an unknown woman last night too. She was telling me to take good care of you. I immediately knew it was your previous wife. That means we're meant to be married. So that's how it was. She appeared in your dream too. All right, let's get married. I may just be a boring guy who's an executive at a major company, but I'll do my best to make you happy. What are you talking about? Being an executive at a major company is more than enough. Make me even happier. And so, we happily got married. My son and his wife even came from far away to attend the wedding. I'm happy you've decided to get married, Dad. I've always been worried about you. Now, Mom can rest in peace too. It seems I had even been a concern to my adopted son, Leo. Indeed, marrying Jenny was the right choice. From now on, I'll walk this second chapter of life with her. I swore this in my heart. Just having someone welcome you home can make a person feel happy. For a washed-up old guy like me, having a young woman greet me makes life worth living. Welcome home, John. Right on time. Dinner's ready. Would you like to take a shower first, or do you need me first? I hugged her shoulder as she greeted me so sweetly. Thanks as always, Jenny. I'll change and then have dinner. She replied with an okay and went back to the kitchen. When I went to the dining room after changing, the table was filled with a variety of dishes. She always prepares homemade meals like this, but for an older guy like me, it's too much food. It's lavish as always, but I can't eat this much. You don't have to go to all this trouble, you know. As I said this, her face clouded over like a gloomy sky. Don't you like my cooking? I worked so hard on it. Wah. And then she started crying like a downpour. Regretting my words, I rushed over to her in a panic. That's not it at all. Everything you make is delicious. It's just me, not as young as you, Eileen, so please don't cry, okay? Hearing my words, she immediately stopped crying. She's a hard worker, but sometimes she just breaks down like this. Still, these moments are counted among the joys of happiness. To me, Jenny is irreplaceable. Though she may cry, she hardly ever gets angry. However, there was one time when she exploded in anger like never before. It happened when I came home without notifying her in advance. Before we got married, we had set some rules between us. Or rather, they were mostly suggestions from Jenny. One of them was, always report your arrival time when coming home. Apparently, she's quite punctual and likes to have the meals ready and the house clean by the time I get home. So, I made it a point to report my daily schedule every morning before leaving the house. However, on that day, my plans finished early, and I was about to get home an hour sooner. When I reached the nearest station and called to say I'd be home soon, Jenny burst out in anger like never before. You're coming home now, but there's still an hour left until your scheduled time. I was taken aback by her intensity. Sorry, my work ended early. Maybe I should have called sooner. That's not the point. Would you tell a client you're coming an hour early just because you caught an earlier train? They have their own schedules too. It's rude to change times based on your convenience. I was taken aback by her perfectly reasonable argument. You're right. The other party would have their preparations. Exactly. So, find something to do for an hour and then come home. Sticking to the scheduled time is crucial. I couldn't believe I had to find a way to kill time just to go home, but I swallowed my words. Well, if you think about, for a housewife like her home is her workplace. Indeed, her point was entirely valid. I was wrong for not considering your situation. I'll find something to do and come home in an hour. Then, she packed away her anger as if it never happened and replied in her usual sweet voice. Thank you for understanding. I'll be waiting in an hour. Just don't kill time in any sleazy places, okay? I swear I won't. Her strictness with time was a testament to her serious commitment to her role as a housewife. I never doubted that. In fact, I wondered how many wives would go to such lengths for their husbands. Feeling grateful, I embraced the warmth of her dedication. During this time, I was assigned to go on a business trip overseas by the president. There seemed to be an issue at one of our factories abroad, and I was asked to bring a few team members and resolve it. I was chosen because I'm fluent in several languages. Back in my youth, I had traveled abroad with just a backpack, learning not only Spanish but also the local languages. An overseas business trip sounds tough, especially for 2 weeks. Jenny said with a concerned look after hearing about it. The 2 weeks is just a minimum estimate. It might get extended. I can't return until the problem is resolved. If it does get extended, I'll let you know right away. Okay, take care. It's dangerous overseas. Thanks for your concern, but I'll be fine. You should take this time to relax too. How about going on a trip with your friends? That sounds nice. I'll think about it, she said, smiling brightly. And so, I headed off on my business trip. But, when I arrived, the issue had calmed down significantly, and we resolved it within a week. I immediately emailed Jenny about the situation and started my journey home. Though the work was easier than expected, returning from abroad is still quite tiring. Dragging my heavy suitcase, I made my way home. When I arrived, something felt off, and I paused in front of the entrance. For some reason, I felt I shouldn't open the door just yet. Perhaps it was because I had emailed about my early return but received no reply from her. Thinking she might be enjoying her day off undisturbed with a friend, I refrained from sending any more messages. Or maybe she had gone on a trip and wasn't home. Exhausted, I quietly opened the front door and entered the house, only to encounter an unexpected situation. Seeing an unfamiliar pair of men's shoes at the entrance was surprising enough. But as I approached the dining room door, I heard Jenny's voice along with that of an unknown man. I peered through the gap in the door. "Come on, it's your turn, Mark. Hurry up and play. It's your fault for stopping me. I can't go anymore." I could feel my heartbeat quickening. I didn't want to think it, but could she be having an affair? The thought raced through my mind. "It's not me, just hurry up. You're wicked, you know that. Take this." Ugh. Hearing her scream filled with delight, I barged into the room, surprised at my own actions. "Whoa, who are you?" The moment he saw me, he scattered the playing cards he was holding across the sofa table. "John, why, you're not supposed to be back yet." She also let go of her cards. Laid out on the table were cards arranged for a game. It seemed they were in the middle of playing a card game. But given the situation, they were probably up to more than just that. The man, who seemed like her affair partner, suddenly grinned and said, looking at me, "So, you're the husband. You do look as pathetic as she said." And then, as if to show off, he pulled her close to his body. "I'm taking your wife." The man wore a tank top and had a surprisingly good physique upon closer inspection. My instincts told me he wasn't living a respectable life. "What are you staring at?" "It's nothing. By the way, are you in the mafia?" I asked the manual. "What's it to you?" "Well, whatever. I'll tell you since you asked. I'm from the Luciano family." The Luciano family, that's the new organization that branched off from the Stefano family, right? "Well, you know your stuff, old man." Jenny cut in. "Hey, don't just ignore me and carry on with your conversation. And John, did you forget our agreement? You're supposed to stick to the scheduled time when you come home. It's your fault for coming back at a weird time." What kind of reasoning is that, I thought. Was her insistence on timing just to ensure I wouldn't come home while she was cheating? I did send an email, see. That's when I realized. The email I thought I had sent to her was still in the outbox. Unsent due to poor signal. "I'm sorry. I thought I had sent it, but it seems it didn't go through." However, she only sniffed him and did not get angry like before. "You would have been happier not knowing. To tell you the truth, I never loved you from the start. I married you only because you were a well-off executive at a large company and an easygoing person with money." "What a pity," he said, holding Jenny's shoulder with a triumphant look. I had no words to retaliate against this man named Mark. After all, it was clear that a beauty like her wouldn't stick with an old guy like me for anything but money. It was something I could have realized if I had thought about it a little. Still, I couldn't hide my frustration. "But you always kept the house clean and prepared homemade meals every day, didn't you? Are you saying that was all a lie too?" Then, she burst out laughing. "You're really too naive. Cleaning can be done by calling a housekeeper, and the meals are already made. Ever heard of catering services? They deliver delicious meals every day, and all I do is heat them up. So, even those meals weren't homemade. From today on, I'll be taking care of Jenny." Poor old man, betrayed by his wife, You'll live in this house alone," he boasted proudly. Even though it was regrettable that she never loved me, I felt a need to show some defiance against the man who was taking away my wife. "Be my guest." "Eh," I replied with a smile on my lips, which seemed to confuse him. He probably expected a pitiful reaction like, "Please don't take my wife away. What are you laughing at? Are you messing with me?" "No, I'm not messing around. Just one thing. Could you put me on the phone with your boss? I'd like to say hello to Tony." Upon hearing his boss's name, he visibly tensed up. "Jenny being with you means she'll be with the Luciano family. I thought it best to apologize in advance for any trouble. So, please, make a video call so I can see his face too. You know the boss. Tony and I go back a long way." While saying this, memories of the past came flooding back, though they weren't pleasant ones. Just thinking of his face made me frown. I noticed Mark staring at me with a strained look. Is there something on my face? I also realized that her behavior had been strange for a while. She was looking at me as if she had seen something terrifying, her expression frozen. "All right, I'll connect you to him. Tony likes me, so he'll answer right away." He handed me the phone. True to his word, the other side picked up almost immediately. "What's up, Mark? Making a video call. Did something happen?" The voice that came from the other side was unmistakably Tony, deep and menacing. "Hello, Tony. It's me, John. Long time no see. I never thought we'd get to talk like this." Seeing my face, he turned pale instantly. "John, you're alive." His voice trembled. Of course it would. Our past wasn't something to be proudly shared with others. It's been over 2 decades since I decided to lead a normal life to marry my previous wife, Linda. I never wanted to get involved with the mafia again, but perhaps this was fate. And I haven't forgiven Tony. Looking him in the eye, it made me clear. "I'm glad you remember me, Tony. Of course, I'm alive. I've fully integrated into society, now an executive at a large company. I thought I'd never have to see the faces of you lowlifes again, but life is full of surprises." I almost slipped back into my old self. No, I made a promise to Linda. No matter how much anger wells up within me, I swore to part ways with my former self. I first entered the world of the mafia when I was 18. It was Alex, a high-ranking member of the Stefano family, who picked me up when I was nothing but a troublemaker in the streets. He saved my life when I was beaten to a pulp after picking a fight with 20 people on my own. "You remind me of my younger self. You've got guts, taking on 20 people like that. Come with me, I'll at least feed you." I wasn't the only one he saved. He was well regarded for taking care of lost youths, earning the loyalty of many underlings, including Tony. However, unlike me, he was ambitious. "One day, I'll become the boss, and I'll make you my right-hand man." He would always say such things to me. At the time, the Stefano family was known for being the largest mafia organization in the country. That's why they valued even a young nobody like me. It's embarrassing to admit now, but I did all sorts of dirty work, like collecting debts while yelling and forcing bad payers in the nightclubs we ran to cough up their wallets by stepping on their feet. After all, doing bad deeds is the bread and butter of the mafia. I knew none of what we did was praiseworthy. But Alex, a true mafia man, was a good person to me. I didn't have any decent adults around me. My father, who succumbed to alcohol and became abusive, and my mother, who left me behind to run away with another man. I trusted Alex more than any of them. And so, I stayed in the world of the mafia until I was over 20. But at some point, an unsettling atmosphere started to spread within the organization. The increase in members led to the formation of factions, causing friction among them. Being a low-ranking member, I wasn't directly involved, but it seemed Alex was caught up in the factional disputes. Tony, aiming for a higher position, seemed to be scheming to use this situation to his advantage. Although Alex was beloved by his underlings, he was not well regarded by the higher-ups, because he was too compassionate for a mafia member. As time passed, the nature of mafia work also changed. To make money, they would exploit and dispose of ordinary people when necessary. Alex opposed such methods, appealing to the boss for the mafia's pride. But, Alex, I've heard you've been getting a lot of flack from the top. You're always going against the organization's wishes. That won't get you promoted or make you any money. Tony, always eyeing the top, was well informed about the movements among the members. He kept me updated on the internal situation of the organization. And then, one day, it seems he is going to be ousted from the organization. He's lost quite a few underlings too. You'd better distance yourself from Alex before you get dragged down with him. Ousted, as in, taken out. No way. Alex has always worked for the organization. Even boss treated him like a son. There's no way he'd be ousted. Then, Tony laughed and said, "It's the boss who said to oust him. Alex is too rigid. You can't make money without being flexible. Mafia is not all about making money." I couldn't help but lash out in anger. Seeing my reaction, he seemed a bit flustered as he said, "Calm down. You're too biased towards Alex." "What are you talking about? Didn't he help you too?" "Help me? You can think that if you want, but he just wanted to increase his pawns. He was nice to us just to control us the way he wanted." At that moment, I found myself grabbing him by the collar. It was probably then that he started seeing me as a threat. Not long after, Alex was found in a drastically altered state. It was the work of a rival mafia from a neighboring country. Alex was rumored to have been colluding with them, funneling organization resources their way. I never thought Alex would be guiding those guys from the neighboring country. He was even plotting to take over the organization, they say. His words left me beyond anger. That's a lie. He told me some of the higher-ups were connected to the neighboring country. They were the ones planning to take over. Alex was actually trying to stop them. Forget about Alex already. Tony, you ingratiated yourself with those executives connected to the neighboring country, didn't you? Did you betray Alex? He didn't answer my question and just disappeared quietly. And then, one night, I was attacked by several men in masks. Around the same time, the Stefano family was involved in an internal conflict that led to a shooting incident, resulting in many casualties. This incident led to police intervention and the organization splitting into several factions. One of those factions was later led by Tony, becoming the Luciano family. As for me, attacked by those men, I fought back fiercely, like a demon, managing to defeat them and even extracted Tony's name from one of them. It was shortly after this incident that I set off on my backpacking journey. I intended to stay abroad for a while, letting the heat of the conflicts cool down, but I ended up enjoying the travel far more than I expected. Looking back, I realized I had always lived in a confined world. Experiencing entirely different languages and cultures, I felt like I washed away the grime from my mafia days. During my travels, I met Linda. She was the daughter of a corporate president, a person from a world entirely different from mine. Yet, knowing my past, she treated me just like anyone else without changing her demeanor. It was the most moved I had been since meeting Alex. Eventually, we fell in love. Thanks to her, I managed to find work at a large corporation after returning home and had a happy marriage, all thanks to her. But there was one price that God demanded. I actually have an incurable disease. It's something that can't be fixed with modern medicine, and I won't live long. I can't have children either. Would you still marry me? When she told me this, I was stunned. not because it was unfortunate. Despite facing such a cruel fate, she chose to live earnestly, looking forward, while I, abandoned by my parents, had sulked and caused trouble. I was shocked by my own pettiness. After that, I laughed for her, cried for her. The time we lived together was filled with joy, making the loss of Linda unbearably painful. I thought I would never marry again. But thanks to a dream about Linda, I was able to marry Jenny. Even though things turned out this way, it was due to my own immaturity. Tony, I'll let go of the past. Holding a grudge for what happened in the mafia world is pointless. Jenny will be in the care of your subordinate. Mark, please take care of her. I pleaded with Tony. Well, if that's what you want, I'll follow through, yeah. Thank you, Tony. Saying this, I handed the phone back to Mark. Let's go, Jenny. He pocketed his phone and urged Jenny to leave. But then, something unexpected happened. Hey, get your hands off me. I'm not going anywhere with you. Acting all familiar just because you're a fling. She pulled away from Mark and came towards me. Coming back a week early. You must really love me. Wait while I make us something to eat. Or do you want to take a bath together after so long? Mark was more surprised by her words than I was. What are you talking about? You've been trash-talking this old man up until now, saying he's boring and has no charm other than his money. What era are you living in? Don't you get it? The timeline has changed. Just go home, and don't ever come back. Being associated with the mafia is nothing but a negative in this day and age. He was furious. What did you say, you damn woman? Without this old man, you couldn't even survive, and you have the nerve to talk back. As he raised his voice and advanced on Jenny, I instinctively grabbed his arm. Stop it. Don't be cruel to her. What are you saying, man? Are you insane? She's the one who treated you the worst. Don't you have any pride? Without hesitation, I twisted his arm. Ouch, stop it. Let go. He seemed to be in good shape, but he wasn't as strong as he looked. He might even be weaker than the guys I fought in my youth. If someone like him is making a big deal in the mafia, then the Luciano family can't be much. I released Mark as he demanded. What's wrong with you? You're crazy. Don't you ever show your face in front of me again. I wanted to say the same to him. Then, he ran out of the house as if fleeing. Hey, you forgot your playing cards. I quickly gathered the cards and tried to follow him, but he was already out of sight. I thought his speed in fleeing might be the fastest I've ever seen. After that, my married life with Jenny resumed. Perhaps because my past was exposed, she started to manage the household even more perfectly than before. John, I tried making meatloaf today, and no, it's not from catering. Seeing her trying so much for my sake made me feel a bit guilty. Jenny, you don't have to try so hard. Besides, I think you should be with someone you truly love. Are you still worried about Mark? I don't care about him anymore. Didn't you know? He got arrested by the police recently. Haven't you seen the news? Is that so? I hurriedly searched the internet. Indeed, there was an article about the Luciano family being under police investigation, and many of its executives were arrested. It's true. The crackdown on the mafia is really strict these days. The times no longer need the mafia, it seems. I thought of Alex and felt a mix of emotions. Seeing me like that, she became serious. John, I'm really ashamed of my past self. I was so focused on money and disregarded your feelings. I'm truly sorry. She apologized. What's this all of a sudden? I'm not mad anymore. It's not about whether you're mad or not. I felt I needed to apologize, and I have another big lie to confess. Is there something else? I was taken aback. Actually, I never had a dream about your previous wife. I just said that because I wanted to marry you. but I knew how important she was to you, and I felt I had to apologize. Of course, the dream story was why I decided to marry you, but it turned out well. I think Linda would be happy for us too." Then, Jenny shrugged and smiled, saying, "Thank you for forgiving me." That night, Linda appeared in my dream again. I immediately spoke to her. "You were right. Marrying Jenny was a good decision. Despite everything, we're happy now. Thank you for pushing me forward back then." But Linda shook her head. "I was actually against the marriage at that time. She had no love for you." "What? I'm surprised. You must have fallen asleep with the TV on, so you couldn't hear me, but I'm relieved to see things are going well now. Her love seems genuine. I wish you both happiness." And then I woke up. Next to me, Jenny was sound asleep, drooling a bit. I never had a dream about Linda again. We would meet again, but that's a story for another time. A year later, we were blessed with a baby girl. I never imagined I could have a child at my age, so it was a complete surprise. Well, it might not even be my child, but even if the child in your belly isn't mine, I'm happy that I can raise a child with you. I tried to say it jokingly, but Jenny got angry. "What are you talking about? This child is undoubtedly ours, yours and mine. If you don't believe me, shall we do a DNA test?" Sorry, I didn't mean to doubt you at all. I just wanted to say that I'm happy, no matter the path we've taken, that this child has come to me." "That's right. It's our path, yours and mine." She was even more upset and hit me. It moved," she said while stroking her swollen belly. "It must be worried about us arguing." Then, we looked at each other and laughed, feeling the shared desire to make the life coming into this world happy.